All right, so good morning. This is going to be Lab 7.1 and 7.2, the powder at the airport lab. The story is that at the international arrivals area of the Detroit airport, a random inspection of a passenger suitcase reveals a film canister containing a white powder. The passenger indignantly says it is ibuprofen powdered for quick dissolving as a headache remedy, and that he never travels without it. So the customs agents need to have a quick spot test done because they don't know whether to call the DEA or just let the man go. So what you're going to do is we're going to run a spot test on, we have aspirin in the first column, we have, or row, we have Alka-Seltzer in the second row, sodium bicarbonate in the third row, acetaminophen in the fourth row, Excedrin in the fifth row, ibuprofen in the sixth row, and then later on we'll have an unknown in the last row. And then going down our columns, the first row we're going to add distilled water to see if it dissolves, and then we're going to add UI, which is a universal indicator. It will change color based on pH, and we will compare that to the chart that I have on the pH scale. The second row we're going to add hydrochloric acid, see that reaction, and then in the fourth row we're going to add iron chloride and see that reaction. So those are going to be the tests that we're going to run today. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is add the distilled water, and then I'll show you what we have. So distilled water is going to go in this first thing. I'm going to add enough. All right, so we added distilled water. I'm going to again use toothpicks like I did for the other lab. Have a napkin out to put my toothpicks on. And let's see if we can do this. So this is aspirin. Here's the reaction, or really not really too much. It's dissolving a little bit, but not real well. This is the Alka-Seltzer, and it bubbled and it disappeared. It's already dissolved. All right, next is sodium bicarbonate. It also dissolved, so, or at least mostly. And then we have acetaminophen, which is kind of floating on top, not really dissolving very much. All right, let's get another toothpick. And then we have Excedrin. Again, it's kind of more on the top. And then we have ibuprofen, which is, again, really sitting on top. So those are going to be how it reacted with dissolved water. So now what I'm going to do is add the universal indicator. Sorry. And to that same column. So we're going to add a drop. Oops, sorry, that one turned nice and bright pink and bubbled a little bit. And that one turned green. That one turned blue. That one turned sort of an orange. Oops. That one's kind of a pink. And that's kind of a darker orange. So here's our colors really well. Aspirin, Alka-Seltzer, sodium bicarbonate, acetaminophen, Excedrin, and ibuprofen. So now we're going to compare the colors the best we can to our chart. I think that this first one looks like probably close to the 1 or 2, somewhere in there. This one is between the 8 and 9, but closer to 8. This one's not really these dark blues, but it's definitely maybe in that 10, 11 range. This next one looks like 6. The next one looks again somewhere between that 8, 9, but maybe closer to 9. And this one looks like 10. I mean, sorry, 3. I take that back. This is between 1 and 2. I apologize. I'm looking at it sideways. And then this one would be a 3. All right, so there's the universal indicator test. So next is the hydrochloric acid test. So we have hydrochloric acid. We're going to add it to the second column. Alright, so we're going to add no real reactions, doesn't look like. Alright, we add it to this one. See if I can do this without. Get some more hydrochloric acid. Alright, this is the third one. Whoop, and it bubbled. You can see that. This is the fourth one. This is the fifth one. And the last one. Alright. So again, I'm going to get my toothpicks out. We'll start up here. And it really isn't dissolving. That's the aspirin. This is Alka-Seltzer, which looks like it dissolved pretty well. Maybe a few bubbles, kind of hard to tell with the then this is the sodium bicarbonate, and it bubbled up pretty quick right away and dissolved. And then we have acetaminophen, and it still looks like it didn't dissolve real well, so there's still some particles. Let's get a new toothpick. We have Excedrin, which is sort of sitting on top, and same with the ibuprofen, just sitting on top. Alright, so then the last test is the iron chloride test. There we go. Alright, so we're going to add iron chloride to this. Just kind of turning these, some purple, some staying orange. The solution itself, iron chloride, is orange. That's orange mixed with some purple. It's kind of orange. So let's take our toothpicks again. Mix up the aspirin. It kind of still floats on top, but turns this kind of dark, deep purple color. And then we have Alka-Seltzer right here. That bubbled up a little bit. Stayed sort of a yellow-orange. Then we have sodium bicarbonate. That turned a darker orange. And then we have acetaminophen, which kind of is a yellow, I don't know, green maybe. And then we have Excedrin, which is turning sort of that purple again, but not as deep, kind of an orangish purple. And then we have ibuprofen, which staying more of this yellow on top. So there's our knowns right there. We have aspirin, Alka-Seltzer, sodium bicarbonate, acetaminophen, Excedrin, and ibuprofen. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some unknowns in the bottom. We're going to do unknown 1. So I'm just going to put a small amount of unknown 1 in the bottom well. Alright, let's look at the powder first so you can make your hypothesis. This is what it looks like. Alright, so we're going to start off again with our distilled water test. See how it reacts. Alright, so so here is the distilled water. It looks like it's mostly dissolved. Maybe a little bubble there. And now let's add the universal indicator. Bubbled up a little bit in there. Hydrochloric acid. Oh, let's see, color-wise. Looks sort of like that 7 or 8, maybe closer to the 8. Alright, then we're going to do hydrochloric acid test. And it bubbled up right away. And then we're going to do the iron chloride test. Alright, so there's your unknown. And use that to write your lab report.